All right. So this is the part that we talked about. We talk about the concept of presumed the concept of presumed donation. Okay, there's a legislation in the Portuguese legislation. Okay, that a person from the moment they are born acquire the status of donor. Okay, someone who wishes to be a donor will have to register on their own initiative. Okay, who does not wish to be a donor. Okay, and parents also can do it for in case of minors. Okay, and so other countries with presumed consent is Australia, Spain, Belgium, UK, and so forth. Okay, now organ the case of organ donation. Okay, are there ethical concerns about this topic? There was discussion in the class, and there were different opinions. Okay, um, but it is the law in Portugal here. So, but the main okay, as mentioned in the class, there were different opinions, but this is the solution. I mean, this is the opinion of the lecturer. So, this has aspects of autonomy and informed consent being validated. Okay, so one of the primary concerns is the presumed consent may violate the principles of respect for autonomy. Okay, this principles underlines the concept of informed consent, which requires the individual to make voluntary and informed decisions about their bodies. As the case of a minor, they are not old enough to make decisions for themselves, and this decision is made in their not in their absence, but they are not aware of it. Okay, public awareness and education for presumed consent to be ethically acceptable. It is crucial that public is well informed, as many people, many Portuguese may not be aware of this law as well. Okay. And yeah, equity and accessibility, ensuring that all information, all individual, regardless of their socioeconomic status, have equal access to information, and the ability to opt out is essential as well. Okay. Now, continuing on the informed consent, this has to do with secondary data. Okay, secondary data is data primary connected by someone else, and then so secondary data collected by another data controller for a different purpose, and you're about to use that data. You need to first check if the data subjects explicitly consent to the use of their data. You must access whether those persons actually intend to make their information public as well. Okay, and it is not enough that the data be accessible. Okay, and must have been made public to the extent that the data subjects do not have any reasonable expectation of privacy. So all of these things you need to put into consideration. Okay. Now, the risks-based approach to data processing upon which GDPR is predicted can help researchers with complex and sensitive data processing requirements to identify and address the ethics issues that arise from their methods and objectives. Okay, one is data protection impact assessment. Like we mentioned before, this is a document. Okay, it's designed to assess the data protection impacts of a project, policy, program, product, or service, and in consultation with relevant stakeholders to ensure that remedial actions are taken as necessary to correct, avoid, or minimize the potential negative impacts on the data subjects. The lecturer mentioned in class that this document usually is not sent to any authority. It is usually kept in the organization. Okay, it's usually mandatory if you are dealing with processing data profiling. Okay. Under GDPR, the DPIA is mandatory for processing operations, like I mentioned, that are likely to result in high risk to the rights and freedom of natural persons, Article 35. These include, in particular, a systematic and extensive analysis of personal data in the context of automated processing, including profiling, whether this has a significant effect on the data subject. Okay, again, large scale processing of special categories of personal data. Okay, and also criminal convictions and offenses. Okay, systematic monitoring of public accessible areas. Okay, and more specifically, if you're using new technologies and tracking people's locations, behavior, processing personal data that is related to race, gender, ethnic, political opinions, religious, philosophical beliefs, trade union memberships. Okay, and if you're processing children's data as well, you need to have a data protection impact assessment document as well. Okay, so here are examples, some examples of informed consent. Okay, some of the examples, for example of processing. We have one example here that is a hospital processing its patients' genetic and health data and so hospital information system. So possible relevant criteria is sensitive data or data of a highly personal nature, data concerning vulnerable data subjects, and data processed on a large scale. Okay, DPA is highly required in this case, especially is a hospital setting. Okay, very personal data is involved. Okay, sensitive data as well. Okay, so that was one example of processing. If we look further, we see another example, the use of camera systems to monitor driving behaviors on highways. Okay, this the controller the controller uses intelligent video analysis systems to single out cars and automatically recognizes license plates. Okay, so this involves systematic monitoring, innovative use or applying technological or organizational solutions. So this definitely will likely need to have a DPI required. Okay, so the DPI document was shared in the class. Sample DPI template. So like I said, it's just a document. Okay. Okay, we continue to the confidentiality and the anonymity differences. So confidential information is information kept private. Okay, only authorized individuals can access it. But we know the information and the source of the information. Okay, it's not anonymous. Anonymous data is a situation in which someone's name is not even given or known. Okay, so it's the we cannot directly identify who this data is from. Okay, it's anonymous. So the process of removing personal identifiers, both direct and indirect, may lead to an individual being identified. Okay, so here it talks more about the differences and so anonymity means you don't know who the participants are, especially if you give out surveys, if you ask names. Probably the data can be, especially surveys in the schools that they send out and in workplaces. Okay, it's intended to be anonymous, but in most cases they have your employee ID or student ID. They can always track it back to you. Okay, so confidentiality means you know who they are, but you remove the identifying information from your research. Both are important ethical consideration. You can only guarantee anonymity by not collecting any personal identifying information. For example, names, phone number, email address, IP address, and physical characteristics, photos and videos, of course. Okay. So you can keep data confidential by using aggregate information in your research, okay, report. So you only refer to groups, ranges of participants rather than the individuals in themselves, okay? Example, employee engagement survey. We will continue from the next video.